This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, we are in the final stages of pre-spacewalk preparations by Anil Menon and Sophie Adenot. They will be exiting the Quest airlock to begin the 282nd spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. We're running some minutes ahead of schedule. A little bit difficult to predict until we get to the point where they begin the depressurization of the Quest airlock.
Houston, airlock. I'm going to hold up one of the O-rings of Medox canister 0006. We see some black smudges on it. We're just curious if you want us to wipe that, if that's nominal, or you want us to wipe that with a lint-free wipe, or how to handle it.
Stand by. We are in a KU transition, so about 20 more seconds and we'll be able to see it.
And again, the focus of attention for today's activities will be the replacement of a faulty space-to-ground antenna on the Z1 truss of the International Space Station.
It looks like a slight little discoloration. It does not look like any fraud.
Okay, we copy. Stand by.
You see in the equipment lock section of the Quest airlock, Jessica Meir at the bottom of your screen.
With your description of it mostly being discoloration, then we are happy with pressing as is.
Copy.
Jessica Meir and Jack Hathaway are assisting Anil Menon and Sophie Adenot in their pre-spacewalk preparations. A short time from now, they will mount devices called SAFERs. Those are simplified aid for EVA rescue backpacks on each of the crew members. Those are jet-powered backpacks that would be used in the highly unlikely event that the crew members would become untethered outside of the Quest airlock during their spacewalk activities. They would have a means to propel themselves back to structure and back to the safety of the International Space Station. Once the SAFER units are installed, the two crew members will be moved inside the outer section of the Quest airlock. That is the crew lock section. The hatch that you see right there at the hatchway, that hatch will be closed and sealed, and the two spacewalkers, Menin and Adenot, will then conduct final communications checks and final suit systems checks before they switch their suits onto internal battery power to mark the official start of today's spacewalk. We have about a 5.5-minute animation that will be showing momentarily that will detail all of the activities associated with today's excursion to replace a faulty space-to-ground antenna.
Our day will start with EV1 in red stripes and EV2 in white. Crew will egress the International Space Station from the airlock and will both be carrying a tool bag. EV1 will translate to an external pallet forward of the airlock to retrieve a foot restraint that they will take as they translate starboard to set up and ingress the Space Station Robotic Manipulator System, or robotic arm, from the S1 truss. Once EV1 is ingressed, the robotic arm will back off from structure and then maneuver the crew up and over the main truss to the Space-to-Ground Antenna, or SGAN, worksite. Meanwhile, EV2 will translate aft and zenith around the airlock to the Z1 truss. Here, EV2 will set up the worksite to remove and temporarily stow the failed SGAN antenna. Next, they will translate up the antenna boom to prepare the SGAN for removal. Shortly after, EV-1 will be arriving on the robotic arm. The two crew will work together to install locks over the antenna's gimbals to restrain it from motion during handling. Next, EV-1 will demate two electrical connectors. The crew will then work together to release 4 bolts holding the antenna to the boom. EV-1 will remove the ESCANT from the boom back away from the worksite. EV-2 will translate down the boom to the temp stow location. EV-1 will hand the antenna to EV-2, who will install it in a temporary stowage location. From here, the crew will maneuver starboard for the retrieval of the spare antenna. EV-1 will fly to the worksite on the robotic arm and begin the release of 2 bolts. EV-2 will translate along the truss to this worksite and assist EV-1 with release. EV-1 will retrieve the spare antenna from its housing, and the robotic arm will fly back to the install location on the Z1 truss. EV-2 will translate back along the truss the same way they came, passing by the airlock on the way. Both at the worksite, the crew will work together to get the antenna seated and installed on the boom. Next, the two crew will release and remove the 2 locks from the spare antenna's gimbals and install a thermal cover. EV-2 will retrieve the failed antenna from its temporary stowage location and pass it off to EV-1. EV-1 will carry the failed antenna outboard to its long-term stowage location. EV-2 will work to clean up the Z1 worksite before heading back outboard. EV-2 will drop off the tool bag at the airlock before continuing translation to the failed antenna install. Crew will work together to get the failed antenna stowed and 2 bolts installed. Once the failed antenna is stowed, EV-1 will maneuver to the same location they ingress the robotic arm from. EV-2 will begin translation back to the airlock and prepare for crew ingress. EV-1 will egress the robotic arm and remove the foot restraint, which they will be stowing on an equipment platform nearby. EV-1 will then translate back to the airlock, where crew will ingress the International Space Station with their tool bags to finish out their planned 6-hour and 30-minute EVA.
And that was a look at today's activities for Anil Menon and Sophie Adenot, the NASA astronaut and the European Space Agency astronaut who will be venturing outside of the Quest airlock a short time from now to begin the 282nd spacewalk in support of space station assembly maintenance and upgrades. A shift handover has been completed here in the flight control room in Mission Control. At the bottom of your screen, you have Flight Director Chris Dobbins, who is the Flight Director for today's spacewalk. To his left is Chloe Mering, the Flight Director who will preside over the next spacewalk on August 25th that will see crew members go outside the Quest airlock for the third time this month to conduct a variety of different tasks in reconfiguring systems and electronics on the outside of the station. But today's focus of attention is the replacement of this faulty space-to-ground antenna that was first delivered to the station on the STS-127 mission in 2009. It has been parked on ESP-3, the external stowage platform number 3, on the outside of the space station, the only spare space-to-ground antenna that remains available for use on the station. It will replace a faulty antenna that began to degrade in its gimbling or swiveling capability back last November. One of the features that you'll be seeing throughout the course of the spacewalk today will be Anil Menon, who will be planting his feet in a portable foot restraint at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm, sort of like a telephone repairman at the end of a cherry picker. He will be maneuvered to various work sites and will be carrying the faulty antenna once it is removed from its boom on the Z1 truss over to the port 3 truss of the station to be installed in the empty parking place that the spare antenna currently resides. That spare antenna then will be brought by Menin once again at the end of the robot arm back to the work site at the Z1 truss in the middle of the backbone of the station to be installed and then subsequently activated by ground controllers here in Mission Control. The robotic arm will be primarily operated today by NASA astronaut Jack Hathaway, who you see on the right side of your screen, being assisted by Jessica Meir as they mount a simplified aid for EVA rescue backpack onto Menin first, then to Adenot, as they will be then equipped with a return capability on this small nitrogen thruster backpack in the unlikely event they would become untethered from the structure of the International Space Station, or as they're moving around from work site to work site. Earlier today, the crew was breathing pure oxygen to cleanse the nitrogen out of their bloodstreams, preventing any event of decompression sickness from occurring once they step out into the vacuum of space. They also conducted a light exercise period where they moved their lower extremities back and forth to increase their metabolism, thus hastening their ability to remove that nitrogen from their bloodstreams. All of that went very well, and the crew is just moments away now from being moved inside the Quest airlock, the outermost section of the two-section Quest airlock, to hook themselves up and prepare for placing their suits on battery power that will mark the official start of today's spacewalk. Here in Mission Control, you'll be hearing the voice for a while of Steven Zenter. He is the spacecraft communicator who will be, he is seated to the right of Flight Director Chris Dobbins. Zenter will be talking to the crew up until the time that the final preparations will be undertaken prior to the suits being placed on battery power. The spacewalk choreographer, if you will, or the IV, the astronaut who will be on console talking directly to the crew during the EVA itself, is veteran astronaut Anne McClain. She is not in the field of view at the moment. She'll be on console momentarily. She is in the room, and she'll be the voice you'll be hearing as she runs through the step-by-step procedures with Menin and Adenot while they're conducting their work outside in the void of space. Once the crew lock section is depressurized It will do so in a multi-step fashion, going first down to about 5 pounds per square inch of pressure in the crew lock from 14.7 pounds per square inch. There will be a pause to enable ground controllers to check out systems and for the crew members to conduct final checks of their suits, making sure that they're leak-free. The suits underwent a leak check earlier this morning, and both suits were found to be in good shape, no leaks, with all of the systems operating as they should. Once that momentary pause in the depressurization of the crew lock is conducted, the depressurization then will resume down to vacuum, enabling the two crew members to open the outer thermal hatch and then the hatch on the crew lock section prior to placing their suits on battery power. Here in Mission Control, the clock on the wall calling for a go for depressurization just under 10 minutes from now. We'll continue to track that time. Once the depressurization begins, which is implied to start at about 6:36 a.m. Central Time, it will be about 30 minutes or so before we actually begin the spacewalk that is marked officially by the suits being placed on battery power. That puts us about 25 or so minutes ahead of the timeline, but we'll continue to track the official start time for you as we get a bit closer. And just to update you, we now believe that the actual depressurization of the Quest airlock will come a bit later than 6:36 a.m. Central Time. As you can see, Anil Menon wearing the suit bearing the red stripes on his legs as EV1 or extravehicular crew member number 1. He has moved into the crew lock section of the Quest airlock. Sophie Adenot still in the equipment lock. She'll be outfitted with her safer backpack shortly and will join Menin in the crew lock just a few minutes from now. Jessica Meir on the left, and just out of the field of view in the lower right-hand portion of your screen, Jack Hathaway installing the Safer backpack onto Sophie Adenot, who soon will become the first French woman to walk in space. Adenot, representing the European Space Agency today, joining Anil Menon for what is planned to be about a 6.5-hour spacewalk. Could go longer, as the two crew members for Expedition 75 join together in the replacement of a faulty space-to-ground antenna. There are two such antennas that reside side by side on the Z1 truss in the middle of the truss section of the International Space Station. SGANT number 2, or space-to-ground antenna number 2, is the last November. These dishes, if you will, track the NASA Tracking and Data Relay Satellite System, lock on, and provide high data rate telemetry, video, and voice capability to ground controllers throughout the world. Since the problem with SGANT number 2 cropped up last November, the ground control team switched over to the use of SGANT number 1, and that has been functioning just fine. But in order to restore full redundancy to the system, we are replacing SGANT number 2 with a spare that resides on external stowage platform number 3, one of 3 such spare parts platforms on the outside of the space station. ESP3 is located on the P3, or Port 3 truss of the International Outpost. Once the two crew members exit the Quest airlock, they will check their tools and tethers and make their way over to that work site to begin setting up for the removal of, first, at the Z1 truss, they'll set up for the removal of the faulty antenna that will be parked along a handrail, and then we'll move to the P3 truss to get the spare antenna and maneuver it back to the Z1 truss for its installation on the boom and the hookup of cables and connections. You'll be hearing a lot today about bolts. The pistol grip tool, the space age power tool that is used to unbolt and bolt a variety of bolts and connectors on equipment outside of the International Space Station. You'll be hearing a lot about gimbal lock bolts, bolts to release the failed space-to-ground antenna from its boom, bolts to release the spare from ESP number 3, and to work the process in reverse with the installation of the new antenna and the parking of the faulty antenna on ESP3, where ultimately it may be returned to Earth for upgrades and repairs. And just a reminder, Anil Menon, who's already inside the crew lock section of the Quest airlock, he will be driven around at the end of the station's Canadarm2 robotic arm by Jack Hathaway that you see on the left side of your screen. Hathaway will be the prime robotics operator once Menon has gone outside and planted his feet in a portable foot restraint that will be attached at the end of the Canadarm2. It will be Menin who will haul the failed antenna over to a temporary parking place and eventually over to ESP3, and he will take the spare antenna and move it to its installation point on the Z1 truss. Here in Mission Control, Flight Director Chris Dobbins is double-checking with several flight controllers as the two spacewalkers are now inside the crew lock section. You'll see the hatch closed behind them by Jessica Meir here just a few moments from now, and that will be the precursor to the start of the depressurization of the crew lock from its current pressure of 14.7 pounds per square inch of pressure down to vacuum in a multi-step fashion. The flight control team are reporting back to Chris Dobbins that everything is in order. No issues being worked whatsoever, either with suits or systems. And so we're just standing by for the final few procedures to make sure that the two spacewalkers are comfortable inside the crew lock section and in the right orientation for when the hatch is closed behind them. This is Mission Control Houston. If you're just joining us, we are on the cusp of the beginning of the 282nd spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. You can see in this view in the Quest airlock, in the foreground is Jessica Meir. Jack Hathaway is right at the hatchway, the dividing line between the equipment lock section and the crew lock section. Inside the crew lock are the two spacewalkers for today, Anil Menon, EV1 or extravehicular crew member number 1, wearing the suit bearing the red stripes, about to begin the second spacewalk of his career and the second in the past 12 days. Sophie Adenot of the European Space Agency is about to begin her first spacewalk. This the fifth spacewalk conducted out of the space station in 2026 and the second for Expedition 75 crew members. And for those of you who are just joining us, we mentioned this earlier, but it bears repeating. The spare space-to-ground antenna that is going to be installed to replace the faulty one today was delivered to the space station some 17 years ago in July of 2009 on the STS-127 mission and installed on a spare parts platform called ESP number 3, external stowage platform number 3, by Dave Wolf and Tom Marshburn. The antenna that is being replaced, the one that's faulty, was delivered on the STS-132 mission in May of 2010 and installed during an EVA by Garrett Reisman and Steve Bowen. So a pair of legacy hardware in play today as we work to restore full redundancy to the high data rate communications capability for the International Space Station. The space-to-ground antenna, SGANT number 2, that is being replaced today is part of the KU band system that enables high-rate data communications. That's payload data, video, crew procedures, and other communications functions for the International Space Station. This antenna developed a failed gimbal assembly, meaning it can no longer point in the direction needed to track the tracking and data relay satellite constellation that orbits the Earth, needed for communications. The only spare space-to-ground antenna is stowed on ESP number 3. That's one of 3 such spare parts platforms on the outside of the station, in this case on the P3 truss of the station. The failed space-to-ground antenna is currently stuck, if you will, in a vertical birdbath position. This position deliberately oriented to facilitate its removal from the boom that it resides on the Z1 truss. Now you see Jessica Meir closing the hatch behind the 2 spacewalkers and isolating Meir and Hathaway from Menin and Adenot.
airlock in step 77. We have completed steps 76 and 77, and you guys are go for step 78.
We copy, Jack. Step 78 and 79 are in work.
Okay, and we will sit tight until you guys run with 7 all the way through 80, and then we'll pick back up in 81 when you let us know.
Copy, those are in work.
This is Mission Control Houston in the equipment lock section of the Quest airlock. Jack Hathaway on the left, Jessica Meir on the right. They have moved the 2 spacewalkers for today, Anil Menon and Sophie Adenot, into the crew lock section that's behind the hatchway that you see there. As we stand by for the start of the depressurization of the crew lock that will lead to the opening of the hatch and the 2 spacewalkers placing their suits on battery power to mark the official start of today's excursion, the 282nd in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades.
Airlock Houston, Space to Ground 1 for EV crew. You are now hot mic on Space to Ground 1. And Jack, you are go to proceed, picking up with step 81.
Copy. Copy.
And we hear you both.
And airlock, we copy that we are proceeding in step 81. Sophie, I want you to just look and not touch. Can you check on the UIA that the depressed pump power switch is indeed in the off position?
Depressed pump power off OFS.
Verify that the depressed pump enable LED is on ON.
Say again.
Verify the depressed pump enable LED is illuminated, is on ON.
Enable LED is on ON.
Okay, and Houston airlock, we're waiting for your go to do the crew lock depressed Q card in step 84.
Stand by for about 30 seconds. Thanks for your patience, Jack. With that, we are go to step into the crew lock, depress, repress crew card.
We're go in step 84 to start the Q card. Sophie, I am on the crew lock depress cue card. Step 1 on the UIA. Go ahead and take the depress pump power switch to the on ON position.
Depress pump power on ON.
All right, we're going to wait for 10 seconds, and then I'll give you your next step.
Copy.
It's been 10 seconds. You can take the depress pump manual isolation valve to open, and you can expect an alert tone.
Copy. Manual ISO valve open.
Copy, it's open. You guys can monitor your suit P gauge and make sure it stays below 5.5. If it gets up there, then let us know.
Copy.
One copy.
And with everything going very smoothly, the depressurization of the crew lock now underway. This will be done in a two-step fashion, first down to 5 pounds per square inch of pressure, and then finally down to vacuum. That will enable the two crew members to open the outer thermal cover and the hatch to the crew lock before placing their suits on battery power.
So if I turned on my lights just for...
Yeah, I'm doing the same. This is my box. Thanks. It's on EV2.
With the start of the depressurization of the crew lock underway, we are estimating a start time almost right on the pre-published time of about 7:35 a.m. Central Time, 8:35 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll continue to track that start time for you as we get a bit closer. The crew lock now passing 10 pounds per square inch of pressure.
What's happening? 10 PSI on our way down to 5.
One copy.
Two copies.
As the depressurization of the crew lock continues, the International Space Station is flying from southwest to northeast across the Pacific Ocean, just about to fly directly over Samoa.
Continuing on down, we're passing 6.5 psi. You guys might get an alert tone at 6 psi. We're working our way down to 5.
One copy.
Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston, once again monitoring the depressurization of the crew lock on the International Space Station's Quest airlock. You see Jack Hathaway in the equipment lock as he keeps a watchful eye on the two spacewalkers who are behind that hatchway. Anil Menon, EV1, or extravehicular crew member number 1, soon to embark on the second spacewalk of his career, and Sophie Adenot of the European Space Agency, EV2. She'll be wearing the suit with its no markings, just a pure white suit, no markings whatsoever on her suit, as EV2, extravehicular crew member number 2. Menin will be first out of the airlock, followed by Adenot. They will set up their tools and tethers, turn on their helmet cameras, and then begin to make their way over to start the process of removing the failed space-to-ground antenna that is sitting on a boom on the Z1 truss of the International Space Station. Two space-to-ground antennas reside on the station who live side by side to each other. The failed antenna will be replaced by a spare that is housed currently on external stowage platform number 3, ESP number 3, that is on the P3 truss or port 3 truss of the International Space Station.
You'll reach out and put your hand on the depress pump manual isolation valve and take it to close. You should get an alert tone.
Depress pump man isolator valve is closed.
All right, glad to hear that. Now we're going to get into a leak check. So both EV1 and EV2, if you'll take your display switch to status until you see a leak check question mark, and then a long yes to execute, follow the displayed instructions, and let us know when you're done.
Copy.
One copy.
And with the depressurization of the crew lock paused momentarily at 5 pounds per square inch per the procedures, a look at the key players for today's spacewalk. At the top of your screen is veteran astronaut Ann McClain. She will be the intravehicular crew member, or IV crew member, who will be talking to the two spacewalkers, guiding them through their procedures as they replace the failed space-to-ground antenna outside of the station today. Seated to her left is spacecraft communicator Steven Zenter. He'll be talking directly to the other crew members inside the space station. Flight Director Chris Dobbins is in the light-colored shirt on console. He is presiding over today's spacewalk, joined to his left by Flight Director Chloe Mering, who will be the flight director on August 25th, in charge of what is known as the triple jump spacewalk, which will see a variety of tasks to reconfigure systems on the outside of the station.
Action alert.
Happy good leak check for 2. And let me know when you're both in O2 actuator EVA.
Copy.
One's an EVA.
Copy EV1 and EVA.
EV2, EVA.
Copy, EV2 is O2 actuator and EVA. All right, next step, we're going to continue the depress. EV2, take the depress pump manual isolation valve to open. You can expect an alert tone.
Depress pump man ISO valve open.
Copy, the man isolation valve is open. I'm taking the emergency MPAD out here to the open position as well. And if both EV1 and EV2, monitor your suit P gauge. Make sure it stays below 5.5, and if it gets up there, let us know.
1 copy.
2 copies.
The depressurization of the crew lock once again underway after a momentary pause. This will take the crew lock down to vacuum, enabling the outer hatch then to be open, and for the 2 crew members to place their suits on battery power. That will mark the official start of today's spacewalk. Jack Hathaway and Jessica Meir in the equipment lock section of the Quest airlock, monitoring the systems as the crew lock is just about at 2.5 pounds per square inch of pressure, once again moving steadily towards vacuum. Today's spacewalk expected to last about 6.5 hours in duration. There is a lot of work with pistol grip tools, the power tools that will be used to unbolt and rebolt a number of connectors and points on the space-to-ground antennas to remove the failed antenna from its boom on the Z1 truss of the station, and to replace it with the spare antenna that currently resides out on the port 3 truss of the complex.
We are decreasing through 2 psi. It's time to take the depress pump off. So, Sophie, if you would take the depress pump manual isolation valve and take it to closed, please.
It is depress pump man ISO valve closed.
Copy, the isolation valve is closed, and on the UIA, take the depress pump power switch to off, OFS.
In work? depress power off OSS.
Copy off OFF. You guys are awesome. You're going to crush it out there, and we will be here waiting for you in a couple hours to bring you back inside. And with that, Houston, and you got them.
Jack and Jessica, nice job getting the crew ready. Anil and Sophie, it's game day. We are on step 11, and we're ready for your initial tether config.
To hear your voice and ready to do some work. Thanks, Jack and Jessica, and here goes the tether config. I'll start with mine, but on the left side I have a D-ring extender that's connected to a waist tether. The small hook is closed lock black on black, and the large hook is connected to that D-ring extender, so it forms a loop, and that large hook is unlocked. On my right side I've also got a D-ring extender. The small hook is closed lock black on black, and the large hook is on my MWS unlocked. And then on the right side, the red hook goes direct. My D-ring, closed lock, black on black, and that goes to the red reel, unlocked. And on the red reel is the green hook, closed lock, black on black, and the yellow hook goes to the green reel. It is closed lock, black on black, green reel is unlocked, and the anchor hook is on my MWS. I've also got Sophie's anchor hook on my red reel, closed lock, black on black, and I'm going to hand it over to Sophie to start her tethers and connect them up where I left off.
Copy, Anil. Thank you very much. So I'll start with my left. I have a D-rig extender on which there is a small hook of the waist tether, gate closed, locked, black on black. The big hook of this waist tether is gate closed, locked, black on black, and goes to the airlock waist tether. Big hook, which is gate closed, locked, black on black. The small hook of this airlock waist tether is gate closed, locked, black on black on the airlock D-ring extender. So for me, that's a good load path to the airlock. Then I'm going to switch to my right side. On my right D-rig extender, I have a waist tether. Small hook is gate closed, locked, black on black. And the large hook is on my mini workstation. On this right D-rig extender, I also have a red hook from my red reel. This one is gate closed, locked, black on black. My red reel is unlocked, on which there is a green hook, also gate closed, locked, black on black. The yellow hook goes to the green reel. Yellow hook is gate closed, locked, black on black. The green reel is unlocked, and I think Anil verbalized already that
Anchor hook.
the anchor hook is gate closed, locked, black on black, which I double check here on his tethers. So for me, that's a good config.
Okay, Houston is tracking a good initial tether configuration. So when the crew lock DPDT is at 0, you will expect an alert tone.
Okay.
That long list of procedural checks by Anil Menon and Sophie Adenot.
And Anil and Sophie, it's going to be about 10 minutes to get down to that number.
You're hearing the voice here in Mission Control of veteran astronaut Ann McClain, who has taken over spacecraft communications duties. She is standing there in the lavender jacket. She will be talking directly to the two spacewalkers, guiding them through their step-by-step procedures as they replace a failed space-to-ground antenna on the Z-1 truss of the International Space Station. The spacewalk officer for today's spacewalk, Sandy Fletcher, here in Mission Control, happy with the tether configurations that were reported by Menin and then Adenot just a moment or two ago as the precursor to the crew lock going down to full vacuum. That will occur momentarily, setting the stage for the opening of the outer hatch and the suits being placed on battery power to mark the official start of this 282nd spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. The International Space Station is flying 260 miles over Nevada, moving from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. The space-to-ground antennas that are the subject of today's spacewalk activities, there are two of them that auto-track, if you will, basically move or swivel to point themselves in the direction of the tracking and data relay satellite system, part of the KU band system that enables high data rate communications for payloads, video, crew procedures, and other systems on the International Space Station. The failed antenna, first identified with degraded performance last November.
Sophie, the depress is looking good. We're just under 1 PSI, and reports from the EVA group is that was one of the clearest tether configs that they have ever heard.
Off to a good start, Ann. Thank you. Thank you.
And McLean reporting a good report card for the two spacewalkers on their tether configurations before they venture outside of the crew lock into the void of space. The failed space-to-ground antenna, which first exhibited degradation in its performance back in November, has a failed gimbal assembly, meaning it can no longer point in the direction of the TDRS constellation that's needed for proper communications. So the spare space-to-ground antenna, which is on external stowage platform number 3 out on the port 3 truss of the station, will be brought into play today, first delivered to the station on the STS-127 mission back in 2009. The antenna that is degraded and will be replaced today was delivered and installed on the station on the STS-132 mission back in 2010. We're now sitting at about 0.7 pounds per square inch of pressure in the crew lock, approaching vacuum.
And Anil and Sophie, we're showing you at about 0.65 or just under.
Copy. Copy.
With the crew lock section of the Quest airlock approaching vacuum, we are expecting today's spacewalk to start just about on time at about 7:35 a.m. Central, 8:35 a.m. Eastern Time. And again, we'll keep you posted. The official start time to be marked when Menin and Adenot place their suits on battery power. Menin soon to begin the second spacewalk of his career, Adenot her first. with the crew lock section at 0.5 pounds per square inch and just a bit below that, actually. The spacewalk officer here in Mission Control, Sandy Fletcher, is good to proceed with the next series of steps, final communications and leak checks prior to the time the crew places their suits on battery power to mark the official start of today's excursion.
Well, that will work for us. You are go to open the hatch and stow it and ensure the emergency MPEV is closed.
Copy, go, EV1.
And Anil, you don't have to worry about that.
And
The MPEV, that's for Jack.
The hatch to the crew lock is now open.
Right, open and stowed.
Power.
I put down my visor. Copy, visor down, EV2.
Okay, copy. Hatch is open and stowed.
Firm, EV1.
Okay, we are now moving into post-depress. On your DCMs, switch power to BAT, stagger your switch throws, and expect a warning tone.
EV1 is going to go first. Confirm. BAT. Okay, EV2 going now. BAT. Expected CPI.
And for EV2, Sophie, did you say that power is BAT?
Power is BAT. I have CP high. What's expected?
Copy EV1 and 2, powers to BAT and suit P high message. And that is expected, you're right. At this time, you can switch your display to Pro and verify a functional display.
EV1 sees functional display.
EV2, functional display.
Copy, step 3. On the UIA, EV2, Sophie, switch power EV1 and 2 to off, OFF. And check that the LEDs
In work.
4 go off.
Copy. In work. EV1 power off, OFF. And 2 LEDs off. EV2 power OFF and 2 LED off.
Copy. Step 4, for both crew, you can remove your SCU from your DCM. You'll install your DCM cover and stow the SCU in the pouch with your pouch Velcro closed.
This is Mission Control Houston with Menin and Adenot having placed their suits on battery power. The official start time for today's spacewalk, 7:29 a.m. Central Time, 8:29 a.m. Eastern Time. The 282nd spacewalk in support of space station assembly maintenance and upgrades now officially underway. Start time, 7:29 a.m. Central, 8:29 a.m. Eastern Time.
And 1 is stowed.
Anil Menon will be first out of the airlock, followed shortly thereafter by Sophie Adenot.
Crew is towed.
For EV2, Sophie, we understand SCU is disconnected and in the pouch.
He's disconnected and in the pouch.
Copy, thanks. And we'll wait on EV1 to proceed.
Everyone's disconnected and in the pouch.
Copy, and can you both verify that your DCM cover is installed?
DCM cover installed.
DCM cover is installed.
Copy. EV2, Sophie, check that the deep press pump man ISO valve is closed.
Press pump man ISO valve closed.
Copy. Both crew, on your DCM, take your temp control valve to max hot, which is lower numbers. Good opportunity to use the mirror.
One is max hot.
Can work? Two max hot.
Copy. Both crew and max hot. You can switch water on ON.
Water on.
Water on. On.
Copy. Both crew, water on. Check your DCM is blank and your bite is off.
Everyone, DCM blank, bite off.
EV2, DCM blank, bite off.
Copy. This time you can set your temperature control valve as desired. Please report those settings, and a reminder throughout the EVA to let us know if you make TCV changes, and best practice is not to do large changes over 2.
2 copies.
2 copies, TCV 5.
TCV 6 on 1.
Copy 6 for EV1.
EV2 had 5.
Yep, 5 for EV2.
Copy 6 and 5. Report suit pressure gauge.
Pressure gauge on EV1 is 4.
Spacewalk intravehicular crew member Ann McLean is reviewing the correct configuration for spacesuit systems with Anil Menon and Sophie Adenot before Menin moves outside of the Quest airlock to set up his tethers and tools, followed by Adenot in the first stages of today's spacewalk to replace a failed space-to-ground antenna on the International Space Station.
And standby 1 while we check suit data. And Anil and Sophie, we are just looking at data. We're going to hold you here for a minute. We had an LED on the PSA, so we're going to be running a PSA recovery from fault. So we'll just stand by where you're at for a couple minutes.
Standing by. Standing by.
Okay, Anil and Soph, thanks for your patience there. And we just have the IV crew running some steps on the PSA, but it does not impact you. So at this time, Anil, you are go to open the hatch thermal cover. You can unhook the strap from the magnetic plate D-ring, move the hook to the integral tether point, and cinch the strap until snug. When you do, please report number of Sharpie lines.
Okay. Opening the thermal cover now. One's got thermal cover open, 6 Sharpie lines.
Copy. It is open, and you got 6 Sharpie lines. You are go to egress the airlock, and your first step is to attach your anchor hook, EV1 anchor hook, to the forward airlock D-ring.
One is egressing now and looking for forward.
Okay, your tethers are looking good from here and all good.
It is.
And just about 11 minutes into today's spacewalk, the outer thermal hatch on the Quest airlock is now open. We'll be seeing Anil Menon exit the airlock momentarily, followed by Sophie Adenot, who is now the first French woman in history to conduct a spacewalk on behalf of the European Space Agency.
Will do. Crew look back number 1.
Dan, I've got on my safety tether in the forward airlock D-ring, that anchor hook is closed lock, black on black, giving me a good load path to structure.
Copy and concur. You can now attach the EV2 anchor hook to the aft airlock D-ring.
The space station is currently flying over northwest Africa, moving from northwest to southeast.
And EV2 is on the aft D-ring, closed lock, black on black, giving Sophie a good load path to structure. Sophie's go to unlock her waist tether, and I will get in position for that crew lock bag 1.
Okay, I am ready to pass the crew lock bag 1. I double check it's number 1. I will wait a minute before, I'll pass the bag first before and I exit before I release my airlock, since I have to,
Sounds great, Sophie. I'm going to get my BOT ready.
Yep.
I'll tell you when I'm in a good position.
Copy all.
And we concur with all your words. Great teamwork. And Anil, eventually you'll go on the forward side. And then, Sophie, as you release the crew lock bag to him, please just let us know if you are leaving the large small in the airlock or if you're taking the large small with the crew lock bag.
So the plan is to leave the large small in the airlock, and the small red that is currently attached, once Anil will be ready to the bag, then I will put it back on the UIA tether point.
Hey, Sophie, I'm reaching for the bag. I see you.
I see you have control of the bag.
I do. Let me get my ret on it.
Mm-hmm.
That is Anil Menon, who's just outside of the Quest airlock, receiving the crew lock bag with tools and other equipment needed for today's replacement of the space-to-ground antenna on the Z1 truss of the station.
Put this on my BRT, and then I will clear some space, or I'll get ready for that RU bag.
Copy. I confirm the small red is on the airlock UIA tether point.
Great to hear.
And I'm getting ready for the bag, but take your time for the medium RU bag.
Do that. Give me a second to get this VRT squared away.
Sure. Take your time.
Okay, my BRT is back and away, and I have a ret ready for the medium RU bag.
Copy. I'm ready to pass the medium RU bag. Sure, it's clear on my tether.
See it?
You see it?
I have control.
Copy.
Now I have a ret on the handle.
Copy.
And let's see. Let's see the airlock ret. I'm going to shake it. It's right here, right?
Yes, I confirm.
Okay. It's coming off. I'll tell you when it's released.
I am ready.
Okay, it's coming back to you.
Copy. I have the ret.
You have the ret.
Yep.
Okay, I'm clearing some space.
And the red is on the same tether point, UIA tether point aft.
Okay.
Copy and good config.
And I am ready to egress whenever you give me the go.
You have the go.
Copy. Egressing now.
See you coming out.
Your hands. Hi, Anil.
Hello.
Okay. I am going to the aft side. I already have a local, so I keep it. And now I'm putting my end effector. All right, I'm out. Ready for the beta checks. Oh, maybe before. Yeah, I'll take my bag before. Yeah, that's true.
As you like.
That's a good idea.
Okay, I'm just move some tangles here. Okay. There's an ORU bag when you're ready.
Yep, and work for my VRT.
Good time.
Nice egress. We can see both of you on the camera, and you guys are looking great. And as you guys get situated with the bags on your BRTs, just a reminder that to tighten your BRT knobs and really take a look at where your ORU bags and crew lock bags are. The divers are not as much of a help in space, so you want to keep those nicely tucked to your body, and you may need to use those joints on the BRT.
Copy.
Ann McLean, the spacecraft communicator here in Mission Control, jokingly indicating the word divers, a reference to those engineers who assist astronauts in their training in the neutral buoyancy laboratory here at the Johnson Space Center in spacewalk practices. Anil Menon outside of the airlock, as is Sophie Adenot, Menon wearing the suit bearing the red stripes, Adenot with the unmarked suit, as they make sure that they have all of the orbital replacement unit bags with their tools and tethers and all of the other equipment that they'll be using during today's spacewalk to replace a failed space-to-ground antenna on the truss of the International Space Station.
See your red on it.
Okay, let me double check. My red is on it. Yeah. I'm just going to put the large hook where I expect it to be. Like here. Here goes.
I'll let you release my ret.
Yeah, I'm ready to release your ret. The ret is released.
I see it. Let me just put it on my NWS and I'll be ready for the buddy check.
Copy.
And I think I'll readjust my ERT a little bit too.
I just want to make sure my tethers are on the right side of the ERT and it's in work.
And as you complete the medium ORU bag stowage, Anil, your step after this is going to be to close the thermal cover. No rush on that, but if you'd like to start getting into position. And after that, we'll be doing buddy checks.
In order for him to close the thermal cover, I will need to change my status position. Standby 1.
I've got it. I'll just hold the thermal cover here.
Yep.
I see your waist tether up. I see the airlock waist tether.
Yep, you are go for that. My BRT is rigidized. In position.
Okay, thermal cover closed.
Copy. Thermal cover closed. Your next step will be buddy checks if you'd like to get into position where you can see one another. And I'll just remind you of the list as you get into position. We're going to be turning on our HECAs. Then we'll be checking for green LEDs, MWS and BRT tabs, safer handlers, and tethers and tools.
All right. I'll start off, Sophie, okay?
Yeah.
I see one green light. I see your 4 lights, headlamps are on, just confirming that for you. I see your 2 safer handles are down, and I see your 3 tabs are up. Taking a look at your tools and tethers now, and while I'm doing that, think about your hat and gloves.
Okay, my hat is dry and gloves are baseline nominal.
Tool and tethers look good. The only thing I have for you is your left waist tether. It goes off of your D-ring extender on the outside of your BRT to that circular handrail.
Yes,
so
I see that.
just be aware when you take it down on the outside.
Yep, I see that, and for now I will leave it like this. It decouples from the tethers. Let me check for you. I see one good green HECA light. I see your 2 helmet lights, nominal. I see your 3 tabs up. I see 1 and, oh, right. Your left safer handle is up.
25 minutes into today's spacewalk, Anil Menon and Sophie Adenot performing what are called buddy checks, basically examining each other's suits and tethers to make sure everything is in order before they move away from the Quest airlock. They're also reporting that their HAPs, or helmet absorption pads, are dry. That's the way they should be in their helmets, and that their gloves are looking good as they set out to the work site that will enable them to begin the first part of today's spacewalk, the procedures to remove a failed space-to-ground antenna from the Z1 truss of the station.
All right. Let me check your tools and config. I see the tether config is good and all the sliders are as expected. Tools and tethers look good to me. And see your bag revs on your BRT. And yeah, that's awesome, Anil.
Okay.
And Sophie, can you just confirm that you checked both safer handles, please?
Yeah, both safer handles are down. The one that was up was ISO valve on the left side. Now it is down. The 2 are down, I can confirm.
I've got a dry hat, Dan.
Copy, thanks, and copy HAP. So at this time, Anil, you can begin your translation to ESP2 forward. Reminder as you go around that the whiff 6 is where you're headed, and that is the portmost whiff on the front of ESP2. Sophie, at this time, you can perform some translation adaptation to get used to your new environment. Welcome to space.
Thank you. Copy all. Adaptation. I will do minimal adaptation and feel very good now and ready to go. I'll just wait for Anil's tethers to be clear before I leave.
Okay, good plan. And just a reminder for both of you as you translate to take a look at those handrails and don't slide the gloves on the back of the handrails. If you see any strikes or anything, let us know.
those instructions from Anne McLean indicating that Menin will make his way to external stowage platform number 2, which is alongside the Quest airlock, to retrieve the articulating portable foot restraint that he will install at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm. He'll be maneuvered by Jack Hathaway, who will be operating from a robotics workstation inside the International Space Station.
And Anil is clear, and you're happy with the tethers.
While Menin plants his booted feet in that foot restraint, moving around at the end of the arm to maneuver to the various work sites with the failed space-to-ground antenna and then the replacement antenna.
So I'll give it a go now, going slow in order to be sure that I'm clear of Anil's tether.
Copy, good plan. And if you need to put any fair leads in, just let us know. Anil, as you come around to the front side of ESP2, reminder not to come in contact with the AGB grapple fixture. That is on the nadir side of the front of ESP2. It's the center ORU facing forward.
I've got eyes on that grapple fixture.
All right, eyes only.
Anil, I see your tether. I leave it on my left, and I double check that it's not in my bag.
Yep, and you'll find as you come around the corners is when that bag's going to want to swing. So you're going to be coming around to the forward side of the airlock, and as you come up, we're going to recommend that you stay starboard of the CETA rail to keep your tether routed that way.
Again?
Yep, as you come up to the top of the airlock, we're going to keep you on the starboard side of the CETA rail, just as you're going right now, just to keep your tether routed on that side.
Yes.
So you're going to come up the airlock toolbox, and if you see a handrail 0551, you are in the right place. You're going to turn right, hit the wagon wheel, and go zenith.
Okay. Up of the toolbox. I'm going to take the forward pass, the V1.
Okay, we understand you're going to go on the forward path. So reminder, it's probably easiest to translate on the high-pressure gas tanks. They've got those handrails that'll put you right at the base of the forward path to Z1.
Copy. In work.
And for Anil, we see you at the APFR in with 6. You're going to be bundling the crew lock bag, and as we talked about, you're just going to remove your crew lock bag from the VRT and attach the other crew lock bag RET to the APFR, and then retrieve the APFR.
Crew lock bag is on the APFR, so I'm going to move the APFR now.
And Sophie, as you get up there, I'm sure you're going to get a nice view of the SAS antenna. You're also going to see some heat pipe radiators. Those are going to be the big squares that are shiny, and those are a no-touch.
Yep. Copy. changed my mind going for the F side of Z1. Yeah, it was a change of plane slightly challenging, so I'm now on the F side and everything goes nominal.
Okay, we are happy with that. So we see you coming to the starboard side, or port side rather, of those high pressure gas tanks, and you'll be reaching across to Z1. You should see handrails pointing zenith that look like 6001, 6002, 6003 to take you right up to Z1.
I'm mindful of the ATSR and the social antenna.
Bill's got the APSR, and he's headed back to S1.
Okay, we concur. Reminders, you come back around toward those airlock toolboxes just to keep an eye on tethers. Sophie's going to be tracking up from the airlock to the starboard side of the cedar rail. Sophie, we see you arriving up at the Z1 work site. Welcome. Your first step is going to be to temp stow the ORU bag on the S-cant boom handrail. Reminder to be slow translating on that Z1 boom and avoid sudden stops or cyclic loading.
Copy.
Sophie Adenot is making her way to the Z1 truss. This is the center section of the backbone of the station on which both space-to-ground antennas, the healthy one and the failed one, are located side by side.
We think a good config would be to put the large hook onto handrail number 2. Reminded that they're numbered from the base of the Z1 up, so 2, it would be the second one facing aft. And if that large small can move up and down handrail 2, we think the bag access will be the best.
Copy. Thanks, Anne. Just working now for one fair lead of my 50 tether so that the next step is going to be easier when I come back, when I go to ESP3 translation.
Copy, good plan.
And this one fair lead is going to be a four-man fair lead around 605.
Captain, I think I heard 6052, is that correct?
Yes, affirm.
Okay, yeah, we like that plan. And a reminder, that's going to be where you put an AET later when you stow the S-cant there. So good recon. Like a good helicopter pilot, you like your recons?
Yep. All right.
And I got to look at that EPFR as I was passing the starboard one. There was no sharp edges that I saw. It would have taken a little bit of work to get some photos, so I just bypassed it. I saw some scuffing on the heels. It looked like paint removal, but no sharp edges.
Okay, we copy and we appreciate that report.
Okay, Sophie is in position for the bag stowage with local on 6051 and end effector on number 2.
Copy, we like that plan. Once you do have that down, then you can pause there for a glove and HEP check after your translation.
Copy, and I will also change my TCV setting.
We copy change of TCV settings.
38 minutes into today's spacewalk, Sophie Adenot is at the Z1 truss of the International Space Station. She'll be removing a heat shield from part of the mechanism on the boom of The apparatus upon which the failed ESCANT is mounted, it's called an AGIT, which is an acronym for the Antenna Group Interface Tube. This is essentially the mechanism on the boom upon which all the electronics are interwoven. She'll be removing a heat shield from that boom as one of the first steps in the removal of the failed antenna. Meanwhile, Anil Menon, you're looking at the helmet camera view from Menin. He is retrieving a portable foot restraint from a stowage platform alongside the Quest airlock that he will mount at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm that will be operated later by NASA astronaut Jack Hathaway from a robotics workstation in the station to maneuver Menin back and forth to position the failed space-to-ground antenna. Once it is removed from its boom on the Z1 truss, and then ultimately to maneuver the spare antenna to that location on the Z1 truss for its installation.
Good view of the thermal radiator flap and the MMOD strikes.
Okay, we copy the report, thanks.
And I'm up to Cedarburg.
Copy, you're going to head left, starboard. You're to the F1 NTA, which is mile marker 6900, 6900. And Sophie, as you get things stowed, your first action is going to be to remove the heat shield. So you'll be opening at that bag, and you'll be tethering to the agate heat shield and to put it in that bag.
Copy. Right now, I can confirm I have 2 AET, one on the handrail 2 and one on the handrail 1, and I'm currently removing my VRT. The bag is a good config. I'm going to sit it down so that it doesn't fly away.
Hey, and Sophie, I am in place now. So if you have some comms, Sophie, now's the time. Otherwise, I would start chatting with Jessica.
Yeah, got plenty of them. I know my next step is the heat shield, and that's coming right after the VRT stowage.
Yep, and for Sophie, just a couple cautions to avoid contact with the ESCANT dish and the gimbals. And the max loads on the ESCANT is 45 pounds, which is 20 kilograms. Your steps that you can go ahead and take is to go up and retrieve the heat shield. You're going to tether to it and release the quarter-turn fasteners. And then a reminder that over on the starboard side underneath, there is an elastic strip that you need to remove. And then you can stow that agate heat shield into the ORU bag. For Anil, I can give you a go to speak with M1.
Love that. Hello, Jessica. I am in place. I see the arm and I see good clearance. Your go for APSR install.
Okay, we copy that your go for the GCA to the published position. This is going to bring the arm toward you, station aft.
Copy.
Nil, we're starting the arm motion in 3, 2, 1.
Jessica Meir is accompanying Jack Hathaway at a robotics workstation inside the station. As you can see, Hathaway is the prime robotics operator for today's spacewalk. maneuvering the Canadarm2 into the right position so that Menin can install the portable foot restraint at the end of the arm. He'll be riding at the end of the arm to move the space-to-ground antennas, the failed one and the replacement antenna, back and forth for the replacement work that is yet to be accomplished during today's spacewalk, which is now 43 minutes in duration. Meanwhile, Sophie Adenot, in the first hour of her first spacewalk in her career, is about to remove a heat shield from the antenna group interface tube. That is the tube on the boom of the failed space-to-ground antenna on the Z1 truss of the station that houses the electronics for that mechanism.
Call GCA complete here.
Okay, copy GCA complete. Stand by while we get breaks. No breaks are on. You go for APFR install and ingress.
Copy, go for APFR install and ingress.
All right, Anil, your APFR settings are 12 Papa Papa Fox 6, and up to you if you'd like to reset the APFR and then put it in. It might be a little easier to access. You'll be looking for 12 for the clocking. 12 Papa Papa Fox 6.
Copy 12 Papa Papa Fox 6, and APFR is currently set.
And Sophie, when you have a moment to pause, if we could get a good glove and hap check, please.
Sure. Pausing right now, and hap is dry. Those are nominal. Some dark spots on the RTV of my left hand. I put it in front of the HECA, but really minor dark.
Okay, we copy the markings. If you have any other information like color or size, that's great. Right now, we'll take that as a nominal glove and hap check.
Nominal color is black, and size is just less than a fingernail.
Yep, thanks.
And Neil's got APFR. Neil's got the APFR installed, 12 Papa Papa Foxtrot 6. And I got a locking collar, black on black, good pull, twist test. Pitch knob is depressible.
Anil Menon installing the portable foot restraint at the end of Canadarm2. Sophie Adenot reporting that her gloves look good and no issues with the helmet absorption pad in her helmet. It's nice and dry, just the way it should be, as we pass the 47-minute mark in today's spacewalk. The two spacewalkers, Menin and Adenot, setting up shop for the removal of the failed space-to-ground antenna. This will involve installing 12 gimbal lock bolts to prevent any inadvertent motion of the dish on the space-to-ground antenna during its transport over to its temporary parking place on the truss of the station, and ultimately for its installation on ESP3, which currently houses the spare space-to-ground antenna that will replace the failed antenna later in today's spacewalk.
And Anil and Sophie, I'm back with you on comm. We're waiting for video to come up.
Copy. It's come.
And Anil, when you're in a good position and ready to walk through tether swap steps, let me know. Sophie says I can't see you. Let me know if you need any additional steps for the agate heat shield removal, and then we'll be taking over comm for the tether swap.
Oh, no, all good. Just working on the translating up the boom.
Okay, copy. And since we are in our first night pass, as you can tell, reminder that your helmet lights have 3 settings: off, spot, and flood. And each time you push the button, you get a different setting if you need it.
Thanks for the reminder.
Thank you.
And the mill's ready for the tether swap.
Okay, Anil, for the tether swap, the first thing that we're going to do, you have a waist tether down, I assume?
Waist tether's down, end effector is down. Waist tether is down, end effector's down. Hey, Sophie, how copy?
I copy you loud and clear.
All right.
Tell me.
Loud and clear.
Copy. The tether from the ORU bag is on the heat shield, and I double-checked both sides. It's all good, so I'm now going to remove the quarter turn fastener.
Gotcha.
And for Anil,
how do you copy?
the waist tether down?
Waist tether is down, end effector is down. How copy, Ann?
We hear you, Neil. Ann is troubleshooting a headset issue.
I hear you loud and clear. I can relay some information if needed. Anil, I hear both Ann and you.
Yeah, I hear Ann and you. Loud and clear, Ann.
Loud and clear.
Great, let's keep going. So Anil, you've got your waist tether down. Your first step is going to be to lock your green hook on your red reel.
Green hook is locked on red reel.
You can now retrieve your yellow hook from the green reel, and you're going to stow that on the SSRMS Lee tether point. Yellow hook to the SSRMS Lee tether point, and that will be locked.
Okay. Yellow hook is on the SSRMS, right?
And yes, so from yellow hook
Yellow
to
hook is it's on and it's locked.
copy, understand gate closed and hook locked on the Lee tether point. You can now
Gate closed, locked.
all right, and then check that your red reel is unlocked.
Red reel's unlocked.
Copy, you can now lock your green reel, and then you're going to retrieve your green hook, and you're going to stow it on the S1 NTA handrail. So lock the green reel.
Okay, I'm going to transfer to truck, then I'll do that and report back.
Copy, and if you need it, the S1 NTA handrail is directly above mile marker 6870.
And McLean working with Anil Menon to make sure that all of his tethers are in the right configuration. He is at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm. Alongside him, Sophie Adenot, as they set up shop for the beginning of the process to remove the failed space-to-ground antenna on the Z1 truss of the International Space Station that began to exhibit degraded performance last November.
It is far down. And all the other sides are 100% covered with aluminum shield. There's no risk of fraud because everything is attached, and I'm in the process of removing it.
Okay, we copy the report. We do not see it in the camera view. The camera view, just so you know, ends right where the agate handrails start, so just below the heat shield, and we're talking about the report.
Okay, let me go up so that I can show it to you before finishing the removal. Do you see it now?
That's a good view, thank you.
All right. Okay, I'm going to finish the removal.
And Sophie, when you get a chance, can you tell us there's something that may be on the agate that caused that damage?
I think my suspicion is that sunlight is intense on this side, on the forward side, and the sun, like the thread that is the cross that has like the pattern of the thread here is damaged. I would say it's too much sun rays on it. That said, I see that the app side also has the beginning of this right where the thread is in a pattern of cross. And I can point it with my finger. It's right here. There's no risk of fraud, but it's of course that's sufficient, I guess.
Okay, copy. We have a decent view of it. If you wouldn't mind pulling it down and right, and just then we'll get a little bit better view of that. We really appreciate the report.
Okay, down and right like this.
That is beautiful, and then just slowly move it to the right, and we'll be able to see the whole thing.
Okay, every side of it has a little bit of aluminum torn stuff.
Again, the heat shield that Sophie Adenot is displaying is basically the wrapping around the antenna gimbal interface tube, the agate as it is called. It's essentially where the electronics are located on the boom where the SCANT antenna, the failed antenna, is housed on the Z1 truss.
And for Anil, back with you for your green hook on the S1 NTA handrail.
Yeah, I am just unwinding tethers here. I think with the crew lock bag, got them looped, but I have a solution, so I'll be unwound soon.
Okay, copy. Just let us know when you're ready to proceed.
Will do.
For Sophie, as you get the heat shield into the ORU bag, your next step is going to be to retrieve the gimbal locks, and for installation, you can either BRT in position and then grab them from the ORU bag, or if you need to grab them and then translate up and get in position, that's fine too.
Yeah, so I'm going to ret myself to the gimbals, and I just folded the heat shield inside out so that it doesn't get more damage. And I'm going to tuck it under the integral adjustable here so that it's really well protected.
We like that config. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, the tethers are unwound. I'm headed to the anchor point.
Copy. Good work. So you'll be putting a green hook on the NTA handrail above mile marker 6870. It's just to the inboard side of the stanchion that says 07.
This is Mission Control Houston. As we approach the 1 hour mark in today's spacewalk, the reports are very, very good. The crew is right on the timeline, as they work their way to remove the heat shield along the boom of the space-to-ground antenna location on the Z1 truss. Also, their suits are operating as advertised. No issues reported so far in today's spacewalk, the 282nd in support of space station assembly maintenance and upgrades. In this view, you see Anil Menon wearing the suit bearing the red stripes as he prepares to accompany Adenot in the removal and installation of a series of gimbal lock bolts. There are two sets of these bolts. The first set is 4 bolts. The second set consists of 8 bolts. They will restrain the antenna from inadvertent movement during the time that it is not only removed but transported to its temporary stowage location on the truss of the station and eventually on external stowage platform number 3.
Okay, the green reel is locked.
Copy, green reel locked, and you'll be retrieving the hook to the handrail and then unlocking it.
Green hook is off. The green hook is on the handrail. The green reel is unlocked.
Copy. Your next step is to ingress the APFR. We recommend you'll be head zenith, and you can use the pump module handrail as to stabilize yourself for ingress.
Menin finishing up the preparatory work for his planting of his feet in the articulating portable foot restraint at the end of Canadarm2, upon which he will be maneuvered back and forth in the transport of the failed space-to-ground antenna and its replacement over the next several hours. The robotic arm being operated primarily by Jack Hathaway from a robotics workstation inside the International Space Station, accompanied by Jessica Meir.
I would like to reinstall it. It's right in front of my heck of view, if you see it.
We see it, checking.
Copy. And for your information as well, the heat shield didn't want to stay tucked in, although I thought I have done a very good job.
Copy. No worries. You are go to reinstall that TA clamp, and just a reminder that about potential sharp edges on those, so just take a look closely, and you're go to reinstall.
This is Mission Control Houston. Just to recap, today's spacewalk by Anil Menon and Sophie Adenot began when they placed their suits on battery power at 7:29 a.m. Central Time, 8:29 a.m. Eastern Time. They moved out of the Quest airlock, set up their tools and tethers. Menin is completing the installation of a portable foot restraint at the end of Canadarm2. He'll be transported around the vicinity of the work sites at the end of the robotic arm to maneuver the failed space-to-ground antenna to a stowage location, and then maneuvering the replacement antenna that is currently housed on ESP3, the external stowage platform number 3, on the P3 truss or port 3 truss of the station. It will be installed in a boom on the Z1 truss. That's the middle portion right in the center of the uprights of the truss of the International Space Station. There are 2 such space-to-ground antennas. The one being replaced today was installed on the STS-132 mission. Back in 2010, the replacement antenna was delivered to the station in 2009 on the STS-127 mission.
And Anil, as you get into the APFR, we see about there, reminder, give yourself a good tug test, make sure you're really comfortable with your heels. Once we get moving, we won't have too much opportunity to redo those. So once you're happy, just let us know.
I feel pretty happy. They feel solid.
Copy. We've got a camera looking big brother right over your shoulder, and you look good there. So at this time, we'll take a glove and a half check, please.
Half dry. Those are nominal.
Copy. I'm going to give you the comm here in just a second for your first, to build your frequent flyer miles on the arm. But for Sophie, for the gimbal locks, we're going to have you, once you get into position, I'm going to give you a couple steps so Anil can take the comm. You'll take gimbal lock number 1, which is the one with 4 bolts, and that's going to install on the aft side, so 4 bolts on the aft side, and you're going to manually put in approximately 2 turns in any order on those bolts. You're going to continue to do those. Turn count is important, so please notice and report those turn counts as able with comm.
And McLean reporting to Sophie Adenot about the beginning of the work to install gimbal locks on the failed space-to-ground antenna. These gimbal locks are physical locking pins used to secure the antenna's movable joints during launch, installation, and today's transfer operations for the spacewalk.
The published backoff position.
Jessica, how copy?
Got you loud and clear now.
All right, let's do it like we practiced. I'm ready to go to the backoff position.
Okay, we copy. You're ready for the backoff. We'll get set up.
And Jessica Meir, working with Jack Hathaway at the robotics workstation inside, ready to move the Canadarm2 away from the truss of the station now that Menin has planted his feet in the portable foot restraint that he installed just a few moments ago.
Anil, we're going to bring you station forward, starting motion in 3, 2, 1.
See motion, good motion. I've got good clearances, as I know you do.
A good view of Anil Menon at the end of the station's Canadarm2 as he is being backed away under the controls of Jessica Meir and Jack Hathaway. He'll be maneuvered to the Z1 truss to join Sophie Adenot for the procedures to install gimbal locks, these locking pins on the failed space-to-ground antenna before it is basically disassembled from the boom upon which it has resided for the past 16 years.
And ground concurs. Sophie, as you get set up, if you need to redo RETs, you can. And BRT to 003 is our recommendation. It looks like you're just about to get that in place. Nice work.
I'm already BRT to 003 and working on the install of the number 1 gimbal lock.
Copy. And Anil, for both, a couple words on HECUS for both of you. Anil, it appears that maybe you may have bumped a button, if you don't mind cycling that and turning it back on. And for Sophie, no rush, but when you have a free hand, we think maybe your HECA got bumped downward, so we kind of are looking down at your MWS. Still a great view, don't stop what you're doing, but when you have a chance, we're going to move that back up.
And my green light was on, but I'm power cycling it.
Copy, thank you, good info.
Copies.
And Anil, this is Jessica. Are you ready for the maneuvers to intermediate through Z1 backoff?
Anil is ready.
Okay, that'll be about 3.5 minutes. Starting motion in 3, 2, 1.
See motion, good motion.
Once these 12 gimbal locks are installed, these locking pins to prevent any inadvertent motion of the dish while it's in the process of being removed and transported to its temporary parking place. The actual release of the failed antenna will be through 4 bolts that will be driven by Adenot with the assistance of Anil Menon. 4 bolts holding that space-to-ground antenna on the boom of the Z1 truss on the station.
I think I'm going to have to wait for Anil to install it. And now what I see is that if I put the 2 bottom ones, Charlie and Bravo, into their location, then the 2 top ones are too high.
Okay, we are tracking. And if we wait for Anil, that's okay. If you'd like to continue troubleshooting it, just make sure that there's no side loads pulling on it. Maybe one of the AETs, or if gimbal lock number 2, it looks like it might be kind of stuck behind one of those NZGL cables. And if you free that, it might give you a little bit more of a push.
Uh-huh. I think, yeah. From what I observed, I'll try this, but from what I observed, it's distance between the top and the bottom bolts, which is not good right now.
When I get there, do you have suggested solutions?
Yeah. So ideally, if you could get a hand, like to the key handle to try to change slightly the alignment. But from what I observed from here, it seems aligned. It's just the distance which just doesn't seem right. Like there's 1 centimeter difference, which is kind of interesting. Okay, I just locked the other red. I'm gonna give it another go. Now there's no side load at all.
Okay, we are tracking and we're talking about it.
Okay.
Can you, for my purposes, can you remind me what bolt you're looking at?
Charlie Bravo and Delta Alpha. Yeah. What would be easier then is I would take care of Charlie and Delta to check the alignment, and you would take care of your side, the starboard ones, which are Bravo and Alpha. For now, either I align the 2 top ones or the 2 bottom ones, but I cannot do like the 4 there.
And we copy, Sophie. We're talking about it also.
Copy.
And so to clarify, you believe that if you hand start, say, Bravo Charlie, that Delta and Alpha will not reach, or if you do Delta Alpha, that Bravo Charlie will not reach? Is that a good read?
That's a good read. But I'm slightly too beta oriented, so I would be able to confirm only if I move, which is kind of tricky right now because I have the 2 gimbals and all the equipment, so it's better to wait for Anil in that position. I tried to, yeah.
Okay, we copy.
Right now, I just hand started Charlie and Bravo half a turn each. But what I observed, yeah, so it doesn't work. Or maybe it just needs some more force to attack.
Okay, we copied half turn on Bravo and Charlie, and that may need a second set of hands for the rest.
Yes.
All right, well, we knew there would be some curveballs, so we're ready.
Yeah.
I'll be there in a bit.
I'm pausing here, just making sure there's no side load, so we're good on that.
Anil, we're going to start motion for your next JoeCast in 3, 2, 1. So we'll be bringing you body in and down, a little bit right to get to the Z1 back-off position.
No copies. Good motion, and I'll provide clearances where I can from the dish and Sophie.
See the day is coming, so I'm going to turn my visor.
And that's a good adjustment, Sophie. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. I can even point it better so that you can see. I have a very good view of Anil, of the arm, of the SESA antenna.
We see the same thing. We've got a great view from your HECA of, we can kind of see Bravo Charlie Alpha, and we see Anil off to the right. And Sophie, if you're able, we understand half turn on Bravo and Charlie. If you're able to go to the full 2 turns, we think it'll be a slightly better config for those 2 bolts.
Copy. It's a full 2 turn on Charlie and Bravo.
Copy 2 on Charlie and Bravo. Thank you.
It's awesome in your menu.
Thank you. All right, I got good clearances here still.
Yeah. Excuse.
Yeah, I mean, I see the issue here from this angle. I don't know if you guys can see that in the head. Basically, it's
way too low.
Can you guys see the HECA? As you said, Ann, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but I can describe it.
We have both of your HECAs. We're not quite close enough with your HECA, Neil, to make out the detail. We can see Sophie's pretty well.
Okay. I think what I'm seeing is the scan body where she's trying to soft off. It seems like it's about 15 degrees angled away from the gimbal lock. The gimbal lock seems like it's in the right place. Like it is parallel with the boom. So that when you get to the F-scan, it angles off from it. Let me see if I can turn some.
Yeah. I mean, what I observe from here is as if the antenna was too tall.
Yeah, that's a great description, and we see the same thing on the helmet cam. We're talking about that.
I wonder if it would help to position the forward side as well.
Well, if I think if I can get the antenna moved purely.
This is Mission Control Houston, 1 hour, 21 minutes into today's spacewalk. Anil Menon at the end of the station's robotic arm, along with Sophie Adenot of the European Space Agency. At the work site, you're looking in the foreground of the failed space-to-ground antenna that began to exhibit degraded performance last November with an inability for it to gimbal or track properly the Tracking and Data Relay Satellite System Network for high-speed communications of data, voice, and video. It is stuck basically in what is called the birdbath position. In the background at the top of your screen is the operative SGANT-1, or the space-to-ground antenna number 1, that has taken over the lion's share of work. The space-to-ground 2 antenna is in the process of the early stages of its removal and replacement by a spare that currently resides on a stowage platform of spare parts on the P3 truss of the complex.
And I'll hand you to...
The two spacewalkers are in the process of attempting to install two sets of gimbal locks. These are physical locking pins used to secure the antenna's movable joints during its installation and spacewalk transfer operations, such as we are seeing today.
Yeah, I'm trying to not reposition myself.
That's it. Sophie, that was a good call to just wait. I don't think this would have been something you could have resolved.
Yeah, there's a big delta. It's not a small alignment issue.
Anil, we are at the Z1 backoff position. As you know, we're ready for the GCA to the bolt access position on your go.
Your go for the bolt access.
Okay, we are going to be bringing you body in, and we would like you to help keep your clearance from the SCAT antenna.
Okay, ready for body in, and I'll keep clearances primary.
Starting motion in 3, 2, 1.
Motion and good motion, and I've got good clearances. I've got a meter from the T-handle, the hand extended. Good clearances. I'm good. I've got a meter distance. I'm personally moving my body in 8-er, so I've got good clearance. Got half a meter clearance, good line of sight. Got good clearance.
And I cannot see anymore the SATA antenna, so I cannot check anymore.
You have clearance on the SATA.
Copy.
And I've got good clearance from the SCAT. Got it. Good foot. And I can move my body even more. I've got good clearance from the boom. Got a foot, I've got a lot of body travel I can put into this to create more space, plenty of room. Got plenty of room.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming up on another handover, but
it.
you guys can continue to work this, and we'll take a report on the other side, but you are go to manually manipulate those gimbals to see what you can get. Watch for pinch points.
Oh, great.
I think we can get this, Ann. I've got high confidence.
We see it.
Okay, working on Delta.
And there is much joy in MCC.
Okay, 2 turns on Delta. 2 turns on Delta.
Copy, 2 turns on Delta.
Okay, Anil, we have reached the published position.
And in mid-sentence, we've hit a gap, a short gap, in our tracking and data relay satellite system communications, not related to the space-to-ground antenna work that's ongoing.
Okay, copy, go.
Menin and Adenot working on the installation of these locking pins before the failed space-to-ground antenna can be removed from its boom.
Bravo, Delta, Alpha, in this order.
She might be on handover, so...
I'm here.
Yeah.
I think maybe... Okay.
Okay, so,
Hey guys,
Anil?
hey, nice job. We copied 2 turns on all bolts. You're going to now retrieve the PGT. They both work. We recommend using Sophie's PGT with a 2-inch rigid.
Copy. So, Anil, because I'm kind of stuck in the movement, I'm going to give it to you.
Yep, I got it covered, Sophie.
So, what I suggest, I align the bolts and the PGT, and you brace and and put the motion in, but I'm going to stabilize this on the bolt.
Okay, I've got your PGT. Is it CALD?
Yes.
Okay.
And just as a reminder, Bravo 1, clockwise 2, I think it's already set. Bravo 1.
Clockwise 2 is set. I can see it.
Yep.
Okay, tell me which bolt.
You start with Charlie, and I'm going to get you towards Charlie.
Okay.
All right, we like it. Bravo 1, clockwise 2, understand CAL is complete. Bolt Charlie first.
Charlie first.
Okay.
Okay, it's in.
Okay. And then I'm going to...
Turn to motor. Wait, can you hold the PGT? There.
The PGT held.
And I'm going to turn to motor.
Hey, why don't I stabilize it and you hit the trigger rate? Now do the turn count.
Okay. But you didn't do the CAL, right?
I had heard it was CALD. We did not CAL it.
No.
We need to CAL it.
No, okay,
So when you turn it on,
right
make sure
now.
the collar goes to CAL first,
Yes.
and the ratchet is in clockwise or counterclockwise, and press the trigger for the CAL.
Yeah, it worked.
Copy.
CAL it and give it to you, Sophie.
Copy.
Okay, good CAL, 41 volts.
Copy.
Copy. Verify settings. Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Mark.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2 is
Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Okay, and a reminder, make sure your ratchet's back in the motor.
Ratchet is in motor, confirmed.
Okay, you are go to drive Bolt Charlie.
Okay, Anil, can you, do you have access to this PGT? For me, it's, I'm not in good position right now. I'm going to turn like this.
That's the PGT.
We have the LED test right now, so clockwise 2, sorry.
The collar is out of CAL.
Yeah, we are now in clockwise 2, Bravo 1, clockwise 2 confirmed. Okay, I'm pressing. Can you activate the trigger?
I sure can. Are you going to do the count?
Reminder that turns are very important, so if one of you can give us the count at the bolt.
Okay, that's it, Sophie.
There was 4 more turns, and we have a low torque. Actual torque is 1, and there's false and torque red LEDs that are on right now.
Copy, checking. And you can go ahead and try with the same setting. Make sure that there's no side loads. The 2-inch is not as forgivable as the 6-inch, so make sure there's no side loading at the bolt. You can also kind of wiggle the gimbal lock, and then you can hit it again with a Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Okay.
Hold it right there. I've got a good grip. Okay, what's it say?
Number 1, repositioning. Torque again, fault. There was initially I had 2 hand turns, and then we turned 4 turns, but 6 total, and low torque.
We copy low torque, and we copy that you did get no additional turns on that second one.
And if you want me to really get a hold of it and try a third time, I'll need a little bit of GCA. I can do it.
Yeah, we do think you guys can decide if it's GCA or if Sophie needs to reposition. We do think that that the PGT needs to be braced a little bit harder, so maybe clocking it down so that the PGT handle is directed nadir more towards Sophie or in a place where you can have 2 hands on it with your BRT, If you don't think that's going to work, then we'll look at GCA.
Okay, Sophie, you can help stabilize it, but it's just barely out of my reach to give it like really strong hold.
Okay. So then I need to reposition. Oh, and it's going to take a while.
Would it be easier for me to just GCA in? What do you think?
Yeah, it's up to you. Do you think moving the handle to point down towards Sophie would do anything?
We just evaluate this.
Okay, let me try.
Right there. Get you set up.
No, it's
where your hand is, Sophie,
again.
should help. It should kick to the handle should kick to the right. So the side that you have your hand on, if you could get a strong hand there and manage that kick, that might help.
I can help stabilize it.
Yeah, it's also low torque. So no more turns. I tried it 3 times. Could it be a cal problem? But do you want us to recal just in case something went wrong?
We do not think it's a cal problem. Standby 1.
See?
And Sophie, just to be clear, we got the full two hand starts and then 4 additional turns with low torque. Have you gotten any additional turns or any good torque indicator?
Yeah, okay, so right now we have green torque light, and actual torque is 12, and I pressed 4 times the trigger, and now that was a total of 1 more turn, so that would add up to 5 with the PGT plus 2 hand turns, 7 total, and 12 actual torque.
It subjectively looked good to me, and
we're double checking that. We think that's a good bolt, but standby 1. Your next one after this is going to be Bravo if you want to start thinking through that. And with that, we have a good
Bravo,
bolt on Charlie.
I can do.
We're calling Charlie good bolt. You're going to Bravo, which is starboard aft.
It works.
I can do this one.
Okay,
Sophie.
I'll let you work on that one.
Okay, you count, okay?
Yeah.
Starting it in 3, 2, 1.
That's 4.
Does it say?
And I can see it's a good green light, 12 months, 3 actual torque. And that was 4 turns.
Copy 4 turns, green light.